Not long before both sides of the genocide, both the Israeli government and Hamas signed on to the first phase of this peace plan. Polls showed that for the first time ever, more Americans said that they sympathized with the Palestinians than with the Israeli government. Let's take a little look at that.
Who voters sympathize more with the Israelis or the Palestinians? Back in October of 2023, it was the Israelis by 48 points. Look at this shift. Now we're talking about the Palestinians by a point. I looked back at every single poll that I could possibly find since this question was first asked in the 1980s. This is the first time ever in which the Palestinians had any sort of lead on this particular question. It is very clear that this war caused a historic shift away from the Israeli position in the Middle East conflict and towards the Palestinians when it comes to who Americans and voters sympathize with.
So that is obviously a massive change. I'm not sure that I can come up with an example of that big of a change, even in the period of 2 years. I mean, I could be a little bit Buzz Killington and say that a 49-point change means that it took more than 1,000 people killed for each point in that change. Feels like it should have been quicker. It feels like we should have caught on faster, but we didn't. That's what happened. Now, some groups shifted more rapidly and more fully than others. So Harry Enten acknowledged that the Democrats back in October of 2023 had favored the Israelis by 26 points. They now sympathize more with Palestinians by 46 points, which is 72 points. I mean, there's literally never been a shift that big. And so all it took was 2 years of the most devastating war crimes I think that we've ever seen. And so that's good. Now, the shift was evident among Republicans as well, particularly as you talk about younger cohorts of Republicans. Here's a little bit more from Harry Enten.
Who Republicans sympathize more. You see a massive, huge age divide. Those 50 and over, what we see amongst Republicans is they sympathize more with the Israelis by 66 points. But look at the voters under the age of 50. They do sympathize with the Israelis, but just by 25 points. We're talking about a 40-point difference, with the youngest Republicans being far more sympathetic to the Palestinian position than older Republicans are.
So yeah, I mean, that's a huge difference between the two. I mean, instantly my mind goes to after 2 years of genocide, they're now where the Democrats were. Anyway, look, all these polls, you can look at them optimistically or pessimistically. Regardless, it's a lot of change in just 2 years.
No, I love it. It's huge and it's only gonna get bigger, okay? So first of all, if you did under 35 for Republican voters, my guess is, and I haven't seen the polling yet, but my guess is if it's not today, it'll be tomorrow, will be pro-Palestinian, because under 35 is gone. You go online and try to make a pro-Israel point to MAGA under 35. They're not interested at all, at all. Okay, so it's less sympathy towards Palestinians in that case, and maybe I'm being like unfair to them, but more. And by the way, there are actually two right-wing media figures that are very sympathetic to the Palestinians and to Muslims in a way that is absolutely shocking, and more sympathetic to Muslims than all of mainstream media combined in my lifetime. Those two are Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. So sorry if that hurts your feelings, but it's a fact. They have said it over and over again. They treat Muslims as human beings. They're saying, why are we paying for the murder of these kids? That kind of sympathy, I have seen zero from mainstream media, none. So don't tell me I'm supposed to be offended on behalf of other people when no one's offended on my behalf, on my family's behalf, on my community's behalf. Why isn't everybody disgusted with mainstream media that has been deeply bigoted against Muslims, not just throughout the entirety of my lifetime, but in these last 2 years? They're like, all your kids are being killed. Who cares? Whatever. Oh my God! Someone criticized Israel on a college campus. Let's talk about it for 24/7. Dead kids. Who gives a damn? So when Tucker and Candace say, "Hey, you know, Muslims are people, and we should stop killing them," that's amazing. Yeah, they say other things I don't agree with. But guys, show me one cable news anchor that has had the sympathy they have had for Muslims. And if you haven't seen the clips, they're unbelievable. Okay, Candace Owens talking about, we got taught to hate Muslims and it made no sense. I'm so sorry for what I've said before, right? I mean, did I expect that from Candace? You couldn't have gotten me to believe that Candace Owens was gonna say that if my life depended on it, right? So anyways, the reason I bring that up is because it was propaganda by all of mainstream media in my entire lifetime that got those poll numbers to be sympathetic to Israelis rather than Palestinians. You say, well, that's outrageous. Israel is our moral special ally. Of course they show them dirty Palestinians. Exactly, guys. Exactly. Why did the media treat them as the dirty, savage, terrorist Palestinians for 40, 50 years when they were the ones occupied? They're like, Israel has the right to exist. Dude, it already exists. Palestine doesn't exist. Who cares about the Palestinians? That's been mainstream media my whole life. They're guilty. They're the most racist, bigoted people in the country. So then they pretend they care about bigotry towards Jewish Americans, but never to Muslim Americans. So that's why the polls are high to begin with. But now, because of the internet, which they despise, and I love it. I love it. The internet woke up like in unison over the last 2 years.
Don't use that term, you might turn them off. Woke.
But it is an awakening,
it is,
right?
It is.
Not having to do with anything woke, etc., from the past, where, especially in the last 6 months, and one of the things that's aggravating, especially the young right wing, is, wait a minute, you're telling me 90% of Congress gets money from the Israeli lobbies, the different PACs that support Israel, and they all vote for Israel no matter what, and they all give away our money to Israel. Remember, this is the right wing, and we've already given them $310 billion, and we owe them, and the entire media and all the politicians say, no, go back to work. You owe Israel more. You think MAGA's gonna like that? Yeah, they're sellout, crook politicians like that. Ted Cruz, who stuffed $2 million of AIPAC money into his mouth, likes that. But the voters don't, and when they realize, oh, I've been like tricked by the mainstream media I loathe, right? And some of our scum politicians into hating Muslims on behalf of Israel. That's it, the support for Israel's gone, and I'm here for it. Guys, 58 brutal years of occupation, and the entire time, for 58 years, as Israel was the aggressor, Israel was the one that denied Palestinians a right to exist, the one that humiliated them, killed them, occupied them. The entire time American media said, Israel is the greatest, Palestinians are terrorists, how dare they resist their occupation? That's what American media said. That's why those polls were like that. Now the internet says to mainstream media, we don't give a goddamn what your propaganda is. No, we see now. Now we can see, and now we can hear, and we don't need your interpretation anymore. And so they don't want Israel. Not only, look, again, the left cares a lot about the Palestinians and Gaza, etc. The right, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. Like I just told you, some of them actually care. They're like, oh my God, Muslims are human, right? That's amazing. Some of them don't care about that so much, but they do care that America is not controlled by a foreign government. And if you think that the Israeli lobby in America that gave 90% of Congress billions of dollars didn't affect our politicians, no, literally no one can believe that unless they're the most naive person in the world, they're blinded by bias, or they're mainstream media reporters scared to death of having their career ruined if they criticize Israel. That's the reality. So these numbers are only gonna get higher for sympathy towards the Palestinians and no sympathy for Israel, because honestly, these oppressors, and it's not just this government. I know a lot of people get emotional, oh no, Netanyahu's fine, but don't ever criticize Israel from this. But were they occupying the Palestinians for 2 years or 58 years?
Yeah.
The occupation has always been abhorrent and totally, utterly unacceptable. And last thing, utterly racist. No, those Palestinians can't govern themselves. They're all terrorists. They're trying to kill all the Jews. You're the ones killing them. They're not the ones killing. Oh, they killed 2 or 3 of us, so we had to kill hundreds of thousands of them. No. Israel is not the victim. The only reason why you might think that is either extreme bias or you got brainwashed by mainstream media into making you think the overwhelming aggressor in the area is somehow the victim. So I love to see America waking up. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.